Dear students, welcome to this video. In the last video, we discussed about what is performance appraisal and we saw how to design a smart objective. Now in this video and in the upcoming ones, we are going to see different techniques of doing performance appraisal. So what are the very different methods that we can use to appraise or measure someone's performance? There are a lot of techniques, trust me, there are a lot. So the next 3 or 4 videos are going to be on these very different techniques. But then again, do not worry, I'm going to explain each of them in detail. And the good news is you have already used some of these performance appraisal techniques yourself. So without further delay, let's start the main content of today's lecture. So here is the first technique, graphic rating scale. Again, graphic rating scale. Now before I start, just as before, when we hear the name of the performance appraisal techniques, we can sort of guess what happens in these different kinds of performance appraisal methods. Now keeping that in mind, let's move on to the details of this graphic rating scale. Now trust me, as soon as I show you an example of this graphic rating scale, you will immediately recognize this method because you yourself have used this method. How? In this manner. See? I'm 100% sure you can recognize this photo. Why? Because you have used this before when filling out your faculty evaluation form. So exactly that is graphic rating scale. So what happens here? Graphic rating scale is a scale that lists a number of traits and a range of scores against each trait. And here, by trait we mean characteristics. Let me match this definition with this photo. So in this table, we have these different characteristics and traits. So we listed all these traits in this table and we also have a range of scores against each characteristic. Now let me explain the scoring system in this table even further characteristic wise. So this table is basically for an employee. So at the top of the table we have the employee name, the department and the job title. And these are all the characteristics or traits of that employee that we are going to measure. So for example, the first trait is attendance. And with regards to attendance, we are going to score that employee out of 5. So if the attendance is really poor, we are going to give that employee 1. If it's fairly poor, then 2. If it's good, then 3 and so on. Now as you can see, the employee got 3 in attendance. Similarly, in the same manner, that employee was scored in all the other characteristics, as you can see here. So that is a graphic rating scale. Why is it called as such? Because here we rate the employees on a scale and it is sort of a graphic illustration. So that's why it's called graphic rating scale. Now finally, as it is written here, the employee is then rated by identifying the score that best describes their level of performance for each trait. So I'm 100% sure all of you have got this topic very well. So just to show you again, this is another example of a graphic rating scale. So here again, another employee in the accounting department is rated by somebody named Irene on all the different qualities listed here. And the score here ranges from 1 to 4 in each characteristic or trait. So yes, graphic rating scale is that easy. Now let's move on to the next performance appraisal technique. So the next one is this, forced distribution method. Now, those of you who have done statistics course may have recognized this terminology here. So this is more relatable to statistics. However, even if you do not have any knowledge of statistics, I'm going to explain it to you without using any sort of statistics here. Please pay attention for the next 2 minutes. Now here, for your ease of understanding, before giving you the definition, I'm going to give you an example here. In that way, it will be easier to understand. So let's think of a hypothetical scenario. Say you are the head of HR of a company. Now in your organization, you have 100 employees in total. Now let's assume today is January 1, so the beginning of the year. Now in your organization, at the end of the year, you do the performance appraisal based on the whole year's performance of each employee. Now at the very beginning of the year, mentally or in your head, you have decided that yes, this year you are going to give promotion to only 20% people. So 20% employees in your organization will be promoted at the end of the year. So again, you have already decided at the very beginning of the year that yes, at the end of the year, you are going to promote only 20% employees. Now, along with this, at the same time, you have decided that at the end of the year, 70% employees will remain unchanged. They will not be promoted, their salary level will remain the same. Again, this decision is being taken at the very beginning of the year. And finally, you have also decided that yes, remaining 10% employees will be demoted or fired. So what have you done here? In these three boxes, at the very beginning of the year, you have mentally or inside your head decided that at the end of the year, you are going to give promotion to 20% employees, you are going to do nothing to 70% employees, and then you are going to fire 10% employees. Please listen to the crucial point here. All of this is happening at the very beginning of the performance appraisal period. So even before anybody starts working. So we are basically predetermining all these percentages. Again, we are basically predetermining or setting earlier all of these percentages. So even before the employees start working, we have already decided that out of 100 employees, 20 are going to get promoted, 70 are going to get nothing, and 10 of them will be fired. Now let's assume the whole year has passed by and you have calculated the performance of all of these employees. Now based on the calculated performance, what do you do next? You provide promotion to top 20% of your employees. So after getting the promotion, obviously the top 20% of your performers will be really happy like this. They are getting all the money and they are going to spend all of it, right? What happens next? So you are going to do nothing to the next 70% employees. So their salary will not increase, right? So maybe they will carry on their regular work like this. So neither happy nor unhappy. And finally, you are going to demote or fire the remaining 10% of your employees who are the least performers. This is exactly what happens in forced distribution method. At the very beginning of the performance appraisal period, you predetermine or pre-decide the percentage or the number of employees that you are going to promote, keep unchanged, or demote. And at the end of the year, when you have calculated all the performance of all the employees, now based on that performance, you are going to promote, keep unchanged, or demote according to the numbers that you have set earlier at the beginning of the performance appraisal period. We are not done yet. There is a huge problem here. What is that problem? Say the next year starts. So again, at the beginning of next year, you have already decided that you are going to promote 20% employees, 70% employees will remain unchanged, and 10% will again be demoted. Now let's say the next year, all the employees have decided to work like this. So all of them are going to sit in front of the laptop and work the whole day and night. So everyone was working really hard. So now let's assume all throughout the year, each and every single employee is going to work really hard and their performance is going to be at the same level more or less. So now everybody has worked hard. Now if you follow the forced distribution method, what are you going to do here? This is the sad part. This is exactly what you are going to do as the HR head of the company if you follow the forced distribution method. No matter what, I will not give promotion to more than 20% employees and 10% employees will be demoted. So here, even though all the employees worked really hard, you are going to do this. So basically, you are going to follow the pre-decided percentage. That is really demotivating for the employees. They will be really disheartened. So the main point here is, no matter what, you are going to try to follow this preset or predetermined percentage in terms of giving promotions or firing people. So this is exactly a forced distribution method. We are forcefully using a predetermined distribution. So in very easy terms, we are forcefully distributing certain percentages of employees to certain categories. Again, we are forcefully distributing certain percentages of employees to different categories. And that is why it's named as such. Now, obviously, you can ask, why would someone do such as this? What is the benefit of predetermining these percentages? Trust me, there are numerous reasons for an organization to do something like this. Now, just to tell you one. Maybe in order to save money by not giving promotion to too many people. So as an HR head, if you have predetermined the percentage of people that you are going to promote in your organization, you know at the very beginning of the year that yes, this is the amount of salary increase that I'm going to face at the end of the year. So it helps you to have an idea about the whole year's budget. And more importantly, even though the organization's employees are doing well overall, you are not going to have to give promotion to 30% or 40% or 50% employees. So in that manner, you are going to save money. And besides this, there might be another reason. Take a look at this. You have already decided that no matter what happens, you are going to fire or demote 10% employees each year. So because of this 10%, sort of a fear is going to work in some of the employees. So everybody will be afraid that I do not want to be one of the least performing 10% employees. Because if someone is in the least performing 10%, that person is going to be fired or demoted. So out of fear of losing jobs, people might work harder. So that is also another reason of using forced distribution method. So yes, that's what happens in forced distribution method. So just to give you an idea again, with this method, the manager places predetermined percentages of employees into performance categories. So as we have seen earlier, we have predetermined percentages, and based on that, we categorize employees into promotable, unchanged, and to be fired. So let me give you another example. For example, the top 20% employees are A category, the middle 70% of employees are going to be B category employees, and finally, the bottom 10% of employees are going to be in the C category, and maybe the first to be fired. So that is what again happens in forced distribution method. We have predetermined percentages, and we are going to forcefully categorize people into one of these different categories. So yes, we are done with graphic rating scale and forced distribution method. In the next video, we are going to discuss paired comparison method.